on the range, Cats in Camo, with part 2 of our review of the Sig Sauer full-size 1911 with the rosewood grips. It looks too pretty to carry, it really does. And it feels like something that you just want as an indoor range toy or a safe queen, but the truth is, this gun performs way better than that. It was meant to be used, so for this review, we have been using it and shooting it a lot. The last thing we're going to do on camera, though, is we have the 5-plate knockdown set up at 10 yards. We're going to do the 5 plates. And then we have, as always, our nasty hostage taker over here on the right. So I have 8 rounds because that's what this 1911 holds. And it lets me, if I get through it, I can shoot the bad guy more than once. The SIG 1911.
I didn't do too bad with this on paper. I was actually a little surprised at myself. Let's see if I can even surprise myself even more on my little specialty course here. By special, I mean bowling pins and shaving cream. Because, ha! You couldn't hide it forever, Dan. I found it. That went boom! Wow! It got all over the barrel. Oh my gosh, I am like peppered in this stuff. Woo! Ah, good thing this is the last one because I gotta go take a bath or something. Ah, I'm poking at it.
We have 8 different categories we scored the gun on. Score runs from 1 to 5. First up, comfort of grip. I like 1911s. I feel like they were kind of designed for me. I like the beaver tail. Puts it in an easy high grip that's easy to get a hold of. Your left thumb can extend down the frame and sit there. And this is a comfortable 1911. It's well laid out. It's above average. I gave it a 4.
It almost feels like there's 2 parts to the grip where like you could, I don't know if you could actually take this off and fire it. Again, I don't know guns, or maybe like you could take it off and replace it with a different color.
You can put flatter grips on it.
Yeah.
Those rosewood grips are a little rounded. You can put flatter on for smaller hands.
Yeah. Once again, he sabotages it for larger hands.
It came that way.
Anyways, just holding it in the studio was fine. It felt, a little awkward because I can feel the gap in between the 2 pieces, but no big deal, whatever. But going out into the range and actually shooting it, it was a little uncomfortable holding it, and even with the recoil, which we'll get to later, just whenever having to readjust from one shot to one shot, it was just slightly uncomfortable, so I did drop it down to a 2.
Let's talk about the sights. Sig Sauer's 3-dot sights, for me, are really easy for my eyes to pick up. I like the 2-tone that Allie is addicted to, but in some cases I don't feel like they're as necessary to get the same score. And again, Sig lights I'm a big fan of, so I gave it a 4.
For me, these sights just seemed industry standard. I could tell that they were probably night sights because they weren't 3 white dot. They were like kind of cloudy looking, so I'm guessing again that they were night sights. But again, I'm not shooting it at night, so I can't rate night sights in the day when the night sights are almost invalid. So for that reason, I just had to give it a standard 3.
All right, let's talk about the trigger. It's soft, it's wonderful, it's really clean, it's consistent. It breaks at the same place every time. I gave it a 4.
To me, it's almost hard to rate a 1911 trigger when all of them seem to be the same, or at least all the ones that I've shot. So in that regards, it's industry standard for a 1911. It's a trigger. it's they don't change anything up, so it's a 3.
And this is why we do our reviews the way we do, where we have, if you'll pardon the expression, an expert, an experienced shooter, and a non-experienced, an inexperienced shooter to compare things. Because if you have spent time, if you do competitive shooting and you like 1911s, you know there's a huge difference in how the triggers work. If you're a novice shooter and you don't know a tremendous amount about the guns, it's like driving a car. If it's an automatic, they're all automatic. It's the same. And if you're more experienced, there's all kinds of different variations in the shift differential and cool things like that. So there's a difference. So don't get mad. Be happy that we have different perspectives, because it leads to a more well-rounded opinion on the gun and more information. Let's talk about perceived recoil. The SIG, for me, I felt did a better than average job of absorbing that and staying on target, being faster, getting back on set, and it was comfortable for me to shoot. I actually gave it a 4.
When taking this gun out to the range, it did actually, on firing it multiple times, it hurt my hand just a little bit, just enough to aggravate it and be like, ooh, that kind of stings a little bit. And so nothing severe. I've shot way worse, obviously, but that 45 does seem to really take my tiny hands and throw it sometimes, and I think because of the grips also. So I ended up giving it a 2.
Let's talk about accuracy. This gun still outperformed what I expected. It was really controllable, accurate, exceptional on steel, on the knockdowns and stuff. I gave it a 4.
For me, it's almost a little hard to rate accuracy of the 1911, especially a 45, because I'm just not comfortable shooting 45s. And so right off the bat, there's going to be some user error to that, and I try not to factor that into my score. I try to really focus on just the gun itself, and for that reason, I want to give it just a 3.
Let's talk about ease of reload. The magazine release button works. It's easy to find, and it's really clean. The mag drops clean, and the reload works just fine. I would have given it a higher score if it had any sort of beveling where the grips can come down further so that it funnels the magazine. At industry standard, I gave it a 3.
I have to agree where it didn't necessarily seem anything spectacular. It did drop clean, which is what you want. You don't want it to stick. You don't want it to have trouble going back in. And this one dropped. It went back in. A little difficult with tiny hands to get to the button, but the button worked. So 3 out of 5.
Let's talk about reliability. I find Sig Sauer 1911s to run right out of the box, clean, consistent, and eat everything. This one was no exception. It's above average on that. It's reliable. It functions every time. I gave it 4.
I would say it met my expectations. Again, it's a 45, so naturally I might not pick it up, but for what it is, if I needed to, I could trust this gun. If it was the only one there, I'm not going to be like, I'll go find a club. No, I'll pick this one up and I'll fire it because I know it's going to work.
This one's heavy enough you could use it as a club.
It probably could, but there you go, 3.
The ease of maintenance and cleaning. I'm still going to give it a 2 just because it is a 1911. There are all those extra steps, and the advantage of the short guide rod and being able to turn it without a wrench is kind of counterbalanced by the fact it's harder to get the spring onto the short guide rod, and it's harder to put back together with that short guide rod because if you're not careful, it falls out while you're putting the gun back together, and then you get it all slid together and start going, and then you're, what is this piece on my table? Or am I the only idiot in the room? Don't answer that. I gave it a 2.
being an inexperienced shooter, I would not want to have to clean this gun. And if Dan would have said, "Hey, Allie, your first one up is this one," no, 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 not happening. There was way too many pieces, way too many things to go wrong. I mean, when I saw that short one almost drop out, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have literally probably lost that piece. It would have rolled on the floor and I would have been like, it's not working. So, this is scary. So, I had to give it a 1 because, no.
Let's add them up. If you total up my scores, I gave it a 29.
My score adds up to a 20.
You're not going to run out and get a 1911 chambered in 45 ACP? Shocking.
I might steal yours and use it as a club.
Guess who she'll use it on?
So, what does a gun like this even cost?
Do you really want to know?
I don't, but I think they might want to know.
They're $1,000 handguns. It's a 1911. If you're used to 1911s, they tend to run in that category range. This particular one, I believe, has already been cycled out by Sig Sauer. They tend to make a lot of different 1911s, and they'll make them for 4 or 5 years, and then they'll stop making those, and they'll make something very similar. I believe they've actually stopped making this one now. It's not on their current website. It's under their discontinued products thing, but they're still available at gun shops and places everywhere. And again, it's a 1911. Parts are swappable,
Yeah.
but I believe it retails for $12.99, and the gun show value on this gun is still right at $1,000.
Wow. Big gun, big price tag. Well, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you enjoyed this episode, point those crosshairs to the like button down below. And make sure to stay tuned for more reviews coming soon. See you then.